tuned in to Upskill Professionals, helping you forge a path upward. Because once you stop forecasting your future performance based on your past failures, you'll soon begin to realize just how within reach new heights truly are. Once again, my name is Chris. I'm your career coach here at Upskill Professionals, and today I have a question for you. How many of you have found yourselves at work scrolling through the infinite social media feeds, even though you know you could get in trouble for it? Or even worse, how many of you have found yourselves applying to open positions online while using your work laptop? And listen, we've all been there. We've all reached a point in our career at some point in time when the once colorful and vibrant job that we knew has begun to slip into the realm of the monochrome and the mundane. As a matter of fact, a Gallup study conducted in 2022 found that approximately only 23% of employees worldwide still felt engaged in their job. And so we are all fairly well acquainted with the symptoms of feeling lost or stuck in our career. But the question becomes, what are the foundational issues that underlie that, and how do we overcome those challenges? And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. But before we dive into what it is that makes us feel lost or stuck in our careers, I first want to sit in and explore some of the things that make us feel satisfied and engaged in the first place. And so I believe that there are 4 key ingredients that, when mixed in the right proportions for any given professional, can lead to feelings of satisfaction and engagement. The first is meaningful work. So when we have the autonomy to employ our creativity to do work that adds value to the teams around us and to the business, and we can recognize that value, we begin to build a sense of pride and responsibility to keep doing that good work. The second is meaningful relationships. So when we have support from our manager and from our colleagues who we can also connect with, and when we have access to sponsors and mentors who can help shepherd us along the journey of professional development, we become much more invested in our company, in its people, in the culture we work in, and in our career. And the third is fair compensation and recognition. So when we do hard work and we are fairly compensated and recognized for that hard work, we then feel invested and incentivized to show up tomorrow and the next week and put our best foot forward. And then the fourth is work-life flexibility. So obviously when we show up to work, we work hard. But when we are also afforded the freedom to build that one wild, beautiful life outside of work, we are much happier and fulfilled to then bring our best selves to work the next time around. And so these are the 4 key ingredients of what lead to, in the right mixture for a given professional, feelings of satisfaction and engagement. But when any one or any combination of those factors are thrown out of proportion or out of whack, that opens the door of opportunity for us to begin feeling lost or stuck in our career. And so I want to give you some examples. If, for example, we no longer see the value that we are bringing to the team or to the business, some of those mundane daily tasks and our job in general can begin to feel meaningless. When we are working under a micromanager, or when we work daily with a difficult stakeholder, and we don't have any mentors who can help guide us through those conversations and situations, we may begin to feel disconnected and lost in our career. When we feel that we are not being fairly compensated or recognized for the hard work that we do, and we don't see an upwards trajectory in our career within our current position, we may begin to feel stuck. And then finally, when the 8 hours that we are expected to put in any given workday begins to habitually bleed into the 10 to 12 hour range, out of the 16 average working hour or waking hours that we have, we can then begin to feel the pressure of burnout looming large. And so now that we have identified four of the potential problems or challenges that might lend to that feeling of being stuck or lost in our career, the question becomes, how do we face those challenges head on and overcome them? And so I have three key solutions and actionable steps for you that you can take to once again feel satisfied and engaged in your career. Now, the first solution is going to be to re-anchor yourself in the value that you deliver to the team and to the business. So how do you do this? I want you to get a pen and a piece of paper out, and I want you to write down your goals over the next quarter, over the next half, over the next fiscal year. And once you have those written out above your goals, I want you to write down some of the business objectives and strategic imperatives for your organization and for the business more broadly. And what I want you to do is I want you to draw a line between the goals that you have for yourself and some of those business objectives and strategic imperatives. How do your goals support those objectives and imperatives? And then once you're done with that, I want you to take it a step lower. So below your goals, I want you to write down some of the daily tasks that you fulfill. And then I want you to draw a line between those daily tasks and the goals that you have for yourself over the next quarter, half, and year. And what I want you to really hone in on and recognize is the string of value that exists even between some of those tasks that in isolation may feel exist in the realm of mundanity, all the way up to some of those business objectives and strategic imperatives that are of utmost importance to the business. And so that's one way to re-anchor yourself in the value that you bring to the organization and to the teams around you. Now, another way to do this is to have a conversation with some of your key stakeholders and ask them simply, hey, what are some of the things that I do that add the most value to you and your team? And then what are some of the things that I don't currently do today that would add value if I were to start doing them? And so this is a great conversation to have because not only does it re-anchor yourself in your value that you add, but it also gives you some insight into how you can improve in your current job. But it also builds that professional brand of being value-oriented and a team player. And so this is something that your stakeholders will remember and appreciate in the future. Now, the third thing that you can do to re-anchor yourself in your value is to have a similar conversation with your manager. Now, obviously, before you have this conversation with your manager, you probably want to come to the table with a few proposals. But what this conversation is going to look like is essentially, hey, these are the things that I'm doing today, and I think I could be adding more value in these areas. On top of that, I'm starting to lose a little bit of passion in doing these things. And so I was giving some thought into how I can re-engineer my position to add more value and to gain some new skill sets. What do you think about these ideas? And what do you think are some ways that we could add additional value to our key stakeholders while allowing room for growth? And so this is a great conversation to have with your manager because it shows a few things. Number one, it shows that you're being proactive. Number two, it shows that you're taking a holistic view of the business and the work that you're doing. And number three, it shows your dedication to continuous improvement, both for yourself personally, but also for your team more broadly. And so these are three great ways to re-anchor yourself in the value that you deliver to the business and the teams around you. Now, the second solution to overcoming those feelings of being lost or stuck in your career is to begin to intentionally plan meaningful and novel experiences into each and every one of your work days. So one of the things that happens when we begin to feel lost or stuck in our career is we wake up and we start preparing ourselves for all of the negative experiences that may happen throughout the workday. For example, we start to think about that one person who somehow always shows up at the coffee machine when we are on our coffee break to strike up conversation, and we don't particularly enjoy having a conversation with them. Or we start thinking about that meeting that's on the calendar that we have to lead that we're not quite prepared for. Or we even start thinking about that deliverable that's due at the end of the day today. And by the way, who set that arbitrary timeline in the first place? And so we start to prepare ourselves to deal with those negative experiences. But what we're really doing is preparing. That preparation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so what I want to do is, instead of preparing for negative experiences, I want you to begin to plan meaningful and novel touch points into your day. There is a great quote by Sheryl Sandberg who says, "The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any." And so what I want to do is I want to challenge and empower you to make a mindset shift. Now, when you feel lost and stuck in your career, what you are facing is a period of stagnation. And I want you to take this moment to plan out how you can grow and to reimagine your career journey. And so there are a couple of practical things that you can do this. I want you to schedule 30 minutes into your calendar every working day. And I want you to use that 30 minutes to do one of two things. One, I want you to schedule an informational interview with someone who works on a team that you're interested in, or with someone who's a part of the business that you had no clue existed prior. And I want you to just have that informational interview and begin to expand your imagination and your horizons to explore new parts of the business that you may want to venture into, or at least just have that novel touch point. The second thing that you can do with that 30-minute slot is take an online course where you can begin to build new skill sets, whether those are adjacent to the job that you currently do or whether they relate to something completely new. But this will help you begin to, once again, explore the horizons, test the waters, and potentially find new career paths that may interest you and that you may be able to become passionate about. So that is the second thing that you can do, or the second solution for overcoming those feelings of being stuck or lost in your career. Now, the third solution is to really take an honest assessment of your current skills and your current career fit. And so there are a few good ways that you can do this. Number one, you can explore some of the personality tests that exist, like the Myers-Briggs, like the 16 personalities, like the strong interest inventory, and so on and so forth. The beautiful thing about these assessments is that they really hone in on the strong skill sets that you have currently. They help you understand some of the work environments that you thrive in, as well as your personal preferred way of working. And they also help elucidate alternate career paths that you may want to explore. So those personality assessments are a great way to go about gaining an honest assessment of your current skill set and career fit. Another option for you is to begin having conversations with some of your mentors. So obviously, when we embark on the journey of introspection, especially in relation to a situation that we are currently facing, it can become difficult to maintain objectivity. And so having a conversation with a mentor who has previous experience that they can lean on, but also tailor to your current situation is great. But you want to make sure that you're talking to a mentor who has gotten to know you over time and who has had the opportunity to work alongside you, or at least see the output of your work. So that way they have a good grasp on your skill set. And again, they can start to recommend some things that you can explore to regain that sense of engagement and satisfaction in your career. And then the third thing that you can do to take an honest assessment of your skill set and your current career fit is go back to that exercise I had you do where you wrote down some of the daily tasks that you conduct and start to note, what are the daily tasks that you really enjoy? What are some of the things that you don't do on a daily basis today that you would love to do on a daily basis in the future? What are some of the conversations that really invigorate you? And what you want to begin to understand or explore is how you can start to say yes and take on some of the things that give you energy, and how you can begin to say no to some of the things that take your energy away. And so these are all great ways to, again, assess your current skill set and your current career fit. Now, those are the three solutions for regaining that sense of satisfaction and engagement in your career. But I want to leave you with this final thing. Take it easy on yourself. Especially if you're in the US, we've come up in a culture that tells us if you don't love what you do, it's probably meaningless and you should find something else. But the honest truth is, at the foundation of work, we do it because it is, to some degree, a means to an end. And what we have to realize is that we are not our work. Our work does not define us. We still have the opportunity and the responsibility and the prerogative to build that one wild, beautiful life outside of work. Now, I'm not encouraging you to stay in a toxic work environment or to stay in a dead-end career, but what I am saying is that happiness, satisfaction, engagement in your career wax and wane over time. And if you are feeling stuck or lost in your career, this is likely a season or a phase, and this too shall pass. So if you found value in this video, make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you can become apprised of new content as it does drop weekly. And once again, a career is a long journey to sojourn without a guide. So if you don't believe that you can do better, I'm here to make sure you know better. Upskill professionals, helping you forge a path upward.